Da 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 down da 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 down.
My life for hire!
Hello everyone, and welcome to the TLP Mystic Order Server Guide. TLP stands for Time Locked Progression, and on these servers, expansions unlock over time. It's important to note that a progression server is not a classic server. While a classic server attempts to recreate the experience of 1999, a progression server seeks to promote the content of 1999, but put it in a modern vehicle. For example, Classic has death. A lot of death with a lot of gear loss. But on the progression server, it's not there. Another example is that there are maps, whereas on the Classic servers, there are not maps. Maps are very useful, and though this is a divisive topic, TLPs have maps, and they're here to stay. Other differences of import include smooth spell progression, soulbinders. The Dark Elf mask drops for the first part of the server's lifecycle, and so does the fungus-covered staff off the Mycon and Spore King. Both of these items later revert to their original nerfed forms, insofar as the DE mask soon will become no drop, and the fungus staff becomes the fungi staff. Agnarr will begin in Classic. Agnarr will release 12 weeks after launch. Velios will reach 12 weeks after that, and Luclin 12 weeks after that. Should Agnarr follow the same pattern as Finagil, Luclin will launch 16 weeks after Velios, and Planes of Power will last forever. Level requirements for grouping have remained constant. For the first 10 levels, it is your level plus 5. At level 11, it is 1.5 times your level plus 1, rounded down. For reference, we have here that in Classic you must be level 33 to group with 50, in Agnarr you must be level 40 to group with 60, and finally in Planes of Power you must be level 43 to group with level 65s. As Agnarr server will not be going past this point, further calculations are academic at best. Death works mostly the same, as it always did, with the notable exception of losing your items. However, there have been some minor changes. Until level 6, you don't lose experience when you die. When you get level 6, the game tells you triumphantly that you will start to lose experience upon death. As always, you return to your bind spot upon death. But now there are soulbinders, making it easier for melee classes to find a bind. Now, there's one more difference, that your currently memorized spells are not wiped upon death, they remain. The graveyards and Planes of Power also continue and will exist on Agnarr. As further things will not exist, there will be no Shadow Rest or anything like that, as Planes of Power is at where it's at. One lovely addition to the game that will exist on TLPs is the spell context menu. When you right-click an empty spell gem, you'll get a list of what you can memorize. This allows you to navigate through your spellbook with great ease, and makes it very clear what level everything is. As your spellbooks get quite ponderous in later expansions, this context menu becomes critical to memorizing your spells in a timely fashion. It is also important to note that you can save and load spell sets by right-clicking on the book at the bottom of your spell bar. Something very not classic but altogether new is the Origin alternate advancement. This AA ability will be available from level 5 from Classic. It is not Classic, but it will be there on the TLPs. It takes you back to your origin, that is your starting city. In order to use it, You click on it when you're level 5, click Train. It costs 0 points, so it will be free. Once you have it, you can make a hotkey, put it on your bar, and use the ability, which has an 18-minute cooldown. It's very handy. Anyone can return to his or her home city, and is especially notably useful for all those classes who did not have a gate. Now you do. Of special note, bards can cast the spell while moving, cause bard power. Let's elaborate more on the maps. The maps are a newer feature that are not classic, but they exist here. I suggest you download the Brule maps. We have the link to them in the description. Installation instructions are there as well. The fun part about the Brule maps is that they're way better than the in-game maps, especially way better than the blank parchments that you will find throughout most of the game outside the starting zones. For spells, check out Zenata's progression spell list, which will be linked in the description. The models were upgraded in Luckland, as many of us know, and the new models suck. Upgrade is kind of a misnomer. Unfortunately, because of the way it works, you're gonna get pushed into using the new models. You gotta have them to mount, you gotta have them for new textures. There's no way around it. Finally, there's the revamped zones. For example, here's a picture of North Freeport, old and new. Of all the significantly revamped zones, the new textures, the new geometry are what's used. Further, there are some revamps that they have been able to roll back. This was made explicit by Prathan. When the game releases, you'll have the first revamped form of Splitpaw. Khazak-Thul will be original. The Whole will have Master Yale. Plane of Hate will have the new layout but have the old mobs. Alright, Plane of Fear will have the old mobs, and then you can see the rest for the further expansions. Focus effects. Large boosts to the power of your spells have been put into the game. See, for example, these Golden Afridi boots. There are far too many spell effects for me to say at this time, but just know that they're there, and they're not classic, and they will make you better. Keep in mind that now boxing is now true boxing. You can only run one account per computer. If you want to run many accounts on one computer, go to Ragefire. So you have to set it up, and now let's finish out our guide. To just quickly discuss, there is the advanced loot window, a guide to which is in the description. There is now load balancing in the zones, and you type /pick to go between the different instances of the zone if there are enough people to warrant it. There is a guide to the raid window, also linked in the description. There are parsing programs, such as Gamparse, and there will be more to come. Now, I want to spend the last moments of this video discussing perhaps the biggest change to EverQuest, and that is instancing. Raid instancing now exists on Finagel and on Agnarr. Instancing of raids before Gates of Discord is the largest quality of life change that there could possibly be. This is the end of bat phones. This will save your marriage. This will save your sleep. It's good. Some don't like it, but it's a good thing. Once a raid party is formed, your raid will proceed to an NPC known as the Agent of Change. These are generally found near the zone in which you're going to raid. Every member of the raid party will speak to this NPC in order to enter the zone, after your raid leader creates the instance. This uses the expedition system. Most bosses have a 1-week lockout, allowing you to raid everything every week. What instancing does is it massively increases the amount of loot that goes into the server. Now, while this might be unbalancing, one might argue, who cares, it's 18 years old. Another might argue, well, there's only 3 months per expansion. And fuck, we're all just doing it for fun anyway, right? So, you know what? Take advantage of the Agents of Change. Use them, enjoy them. You can have a regular raid schedule. It's much more friendly for those with jobs and families because you can actually have a time during which you can raid. So you go. Just do your thing. Pick a TLP. If you hate everything after Planes of Power, Agnarr is going to be fantastic. If you want to try out Gates of Discord later, come on over to Finagel. If you want to multi-box, well, go to Ragefire. That's the last thing, right. In order to box, you can only have 1 account per computer. This is known as true boxing. Enjoy the photo. Thank you for joining us for this guide to the TLP, and I hope you join us on Finagil. We are of the Mystic Order Guild. Have a lot of fun, and have fun with them dragon kill points.
The final